Have you ever faced a decision that felt too heavy to carry? Maybe you're wondering if it's time to move closer to support a loved one who needs you, but you're not sure if the timing is right. Or there's a business opportunity, or even a career shift, but you're questioning if you have the energy or the confidence to take that leap of faith. You feel the weight of these questions pressing down on your chest, and the thought that keeps you awake at night is, what should I do? I know. It's hard to make a decision when you're not sure where God is in all of it. But what if this confusion is actually His hand moving you toward the best part of your life? Isaiah 30:21 reminds us, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Even when you don't feel it, God is working. He's guiding you, even in the silence. And sometimes, God's guidance comes through unexpected stories, like the life of someone who doubted, hesitated, and questioned at every turn. Yet, he found clarity and victory in the most unexpected way. His name is Gideon. Gideon's life was anything but easy. For 7 years, the Midianites terrorized Israel, his homeland, stealing everything, crops, livestock, and even their hope. 7 years of watching everything you've worked for vanish overnight. The Israelites were so overwhelmed they hid in caves just trying to survive. It was a cycle of devastation. Now, you might think that because Gideon has an entire story in the Bible, he must have always been strong and courageous. But he wasn't. When we meet him, he's threshing wheat in a winepress. A winepress! He's using a space meant for crushing grapes to hide, terrified the Midianites will take the little he has left. This wasn't ambition, this was survival. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now. You're not chasing big dreams or taking bold steps. You're just trying to hold it all together. You're working long hours, giving everything you've got, and it still feels like it's not enough. Your peace is under attack. Your energy is under attack. Maybe your faith is under attack. You feel like you're hiding, guarding the last bit of strength you have, hoping nobody notices, because you don't think you can handle losing one more thing. But here's the good news. Even when Gideon was hiding, God saw him. God didn't wait for Gideon to feel ready or brave. He called him right there in the middle of his fear, because God knows exactly where you are, and He's calling you right now to step into His strength. So Gideon is still in that winepress, threshing wheat, hiding from the Midianites. He's not expecting anything remarkable to happen. He's just trying to survive another day. And that's when it happens. The angel of the Lord appears and says, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Wait, what? Mighty warrior? Gideon isn't out leading a charge. He's crouched in fear, trying not to be noticed. Imagine hearing those words while feeling anything but strong or brave. Gideon must have thought, "You've got the wrong guy." Mighty warrior, that can't be me. But here's what's incredible. God wasn't speaking to who Gideon was in that moment. He was speaking to who Gideon could become. God didn't focus on Gideon's fear or his hiding place. He saw the potential Gideon couldn't even see in himself. That's the God we serve. A God who sees beyond our insecurities and calls us into something greater. It's not about your current strength, it's about His strength working in you. God sees the warrior in you, even when all you feel is weakness. When God called Gideon, his first response wasn't bold acceptance, it was doubt. He asked, "If you are with us, why has all this happened?" Gideon didn't hold back. He poured out his confusion, his frustration, and his fears. He questioned why his people were suffering, why things felt so hard, and why God seemed distant. What's remarkable is that God didn't rebuke him. God didn't say, "How dare you question me?" Instead, He listened, patiently, compassionately. Because here's the truth, your doubts don't scare God. Your honesty doesn't offend Him, it opens the door for His reassurance. God didn't see Gideon's doubts as a sign of weakness or lack of faith. He met Gideon right there, in the middle of his uncertainty, and reassured him with patience, saying, "Don't be afraid, I will be with you." But Gideon, human as he was, needed more than words. He needed confirmation. And God in his grace didn't turn him away for that. Gideon asked for not one, but 2 signs to be sure it was God speaking to him. First, he laid out a fleece, asking God to make the fleece wet with dew while the ground remained dry. And when God did exactly that, Gideon asked for the opposite, dew on the ground while the fleece stayed dry. In the same way, when we're seeking confirmation, we need to tune our hearts to signs that align with God's character. Maybe right now you're unsure if your decision aligns with God's will, or you're struggling to understand what He's calling you to do. You've prayed, asking for clarity, hoping for some kind of sign to guide your next step. And here's what I need you to hear. God is not ignoring you. He sees you. He hears every word, every doubt, every moment of hesitation. He's telling you today, don't miss the signs. It's not a coincidence that you're hearing this message right now. That old friend you reconnected with, that verse you stumbled across, they weren't accidents. God's been speaking, you just need to start paying attention. So don't dismiss the small moments. His signs aren't always loud, but they're always there, guiding you toward His will. When it came time for battle, God gave Gideon an unusual command: reduce your army. Thousands of men became just 300. It seemed impossible to face the Midianites with so few, but God wanted Gideon to understand something crucial. The victory would come from him, not from numbers or human strength. With only torches, jars, and trumpets, Gideon obeyed, even though it didn't make sense. And God delivered the victory in a way only He could, showing that when you trust His voice, He provides exactly what you need. Maybe you're standing at a decision that feels overwhelming. You don't feel like you have enough strength, enough resources, or enough clarity to move forward. But just like Gideon, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to trust the voice of God and take the first step in faith. Because the odds don't matter when you're following God's voice. So, whatever decision you're facing today, remember this. When you seek God's voice, when you surrender your fears, your doubts, and your frustrations to Him, He will answer. It may not come the way you expect, but He will guide you step by step, just as He did with Gideon. Trust His plan, seek Him sincerely, and watch as He reveals Himself undeniably.